Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Lots and lots to do over the course of the next couple of hours. We'll have What If Wednesday. JD Pichell of On3 Sports talking national college football. A lot of games to go through with JD. We'll do that coming up in 30 minutes. What veteran quarterbacks might the Saints be looking at in free agency now that cuts have been made? We'll talk about that a little bit later. My first shot at SEC football power rankings as we get ready for week one, coming up at the bottom of hour number 2. Generally speaking, we crank things up with something of a monologue. Not today. We got our Genesis opening drive. Let's do it with Cole Bryson from the Fan upstate in Greenville.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Off and running, LSU and Clemson, 6:30 Central Time start from South Carolina. Cole Bryson is there, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Cole, we appreciate some time. How are you?
Doing fantastic, guys. Glad to join you.
Give me the temperature, not literally, figuratively, in and around Clemson right now as they get ready for a big opener.
You know, it's a good question. I think normally you got to know how Clemson media, especially the Clemson beat writers, operate. Normally the temperature's always like high in terms of, you know, I guess we're talking high temperature means high expectations, Good juju, good vibes. If you ever talk to Clemson media, man, on the beat, the temperature's always high. There's always a good feeling. It's kind of just, it starts at the top with Dabo. Very rarely will you ever talk to somebody on the Clemson beat. Now, I'm not on the Clemson beat like some of these guys are every single day in the press conferences, obviously with me hosting an afternoon show, but very rarely will you find an opinion as to where Clemson isn't highly regarded in their matchup. Some may call it cockiness, some may call it confidence, but to answer your question, man, it seems like everybody you talk to in our neck of the woods here in South Carolina are super high on this matchup. I've even seen a few predictions where pundits locally have predicted not only a win for Clemson, but a big win. So to answer your question, man, the temperature is pretty high right now on the Clemson Tigers.
Let's talk about Cade Klubnik. I kind of went back over his career, reading, watching highlights, games, and I see a guy who was a very highly touted recruit. I see a guy whose team started 2-4 in league play, and I see a guy who did not play great with not a lot of help against Georgia last year, but after that, it looked great. Give me the timeline on Cade Klubnik as he enters what looks to be his final year as the quarterback at Clemson.
You know, it's really interesting with Cade because if you listen to Cade at ACC kickoff, if you listen to him a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so ago on ACC Network, Cade Klubnik has a chip on his shoulder because of his past at Clemson. You talk about 3 years ago. Hunt, 2 seasons ago, Cade Klubnik met with Dabo Swinney in his office after the season and really wasn't sure what the future looked like in terms of him being QB1 at Clemson. Dabo Swinney believed in him. Dabo Swinney gave him a pep talk, and he also told him in that meeting that Cade Klubnik talks about a lot about 2 years ago, again before the 2024 season kicked off. Cade Klubnik will be very quick to tell you that Dabo Swinney challenged him in that office meeting that day between Dabo and Cade Klubnik. So to kind of answer your question, Hunt, Cade Klubnik has been a work in progress. What you saw in 2023 from Cade Klubnik is not even remotely close to what you saw in 2024. And Clemson pundits, Clemson fans will tell you that hopefully what you saw in 2023 isn't remotely close to what you'll see in 2025. Now, we all know Cade Klubnik has some big shoes to fill at Clemson, right? With Deshaun Watson, with Trevor Lawrence. Cade Klubnik's very close with Taj Boyd, former Clemson quarterback, who has a little history with LSU, years and years ago in Atlanta, Georgia. Cade Klubnik even talked about today during his media session just how close he was with former Clemson quarterback Taj Boyd, who's now on staff at Clemson, by the way. So to kind of put it all back into perspective here, Cade Klubnik has been a work in progress, but at no point, Hunt, in Cade Klubnik's career has anyone, even Clemson fans, ever just given up on him. There's always been those bright spots. However, on the flip side of that, Hunt, there's also been some tough spots, like the 2024, last year, the game, the regular season finale against South Carolina, a home game for Clemson. Clemson's the better team. We all know what happened at the end of the game with Lenora Sellers making a Superman-type play to win the game when there was orange completely surrounding him. But Cade Klubnik had a very costly interception at the end of that game against South Carolina a season ago. And you also look at the Louisville game that they lost in 2024. Even though no one has given up hope on Cade Klubnik, Hunt, there have been times you look at this guy, especially in that South Carolina game, because that is a sick feeling Clemson fans had. There have been times you look at Cade and just think to yourself, what in the world is this guy doing? So Clemson fans will tell you, hopefully there's just not near as many opportunities for that in 2025. However, going up against LSU in the season opener, man, he's going to have to be near perfect in my mind.
I don't have any questions about the Clemson wide receivers. Those three guys are stars. I do have a question about the Clemson running game. Like, what's your confidence level in this Clemson running game with an unproven back?
You know what? We have spent a lot of time, man, talking about this contest, this matchup happening Saturday night. And while, going back to your very first question, while the temperature's high, while the feelings are good, the vibes and the juju, everything's good, the number one concern amongst most Clemson media, those in the upstate where we are, those Clemson fans around the Southeast, the number one concern is that running back room that you just brought up. You have lost, over the past few years, number one guys. Going into this season in 2025, you just don't know if you have a number one guy. Adam Randall is a converted wide receiver. Listen, a dynamic runner of the football, there's no doubt. He's drawn comparisons to Cordell Patterson in which the way he runs after, he possesses the football. He is a very good runner after he possesses the football. He was a good receiver for Clemson. You saw toward the tail end of last year in that postseason, Dabo Swinney moved Adam Randall to running back. So there's a lot of question marks there, especially with Adam Randall, if he can be the workhorse per se at RB1. And then you also have Gideon Davidson, a freshman phenom from a place that's really not well known in the likes of the Southeast. When you talk about what Gideon Davidson was able to do at the high school level, Max Preps National Junior of the Year, Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year. He had jaw-dropping high school production. So there's a lot of hype around Gideon Davidson. But even with that hype, even with some maybe promise about Adam Randall, there are still unknowns. Now, if you ask Dabo Swinney will tell you he has said on record just months ago that he believes that Adam Randall will be the best story in college football in 2025. Dabo Swinney has always been loyal, always been confident in his guys, and Dabo Swinney's been on record talking about that multiple times. So C.J. Spiller, the running backs coach, they have a lot of confidence in what the former wide receiver Adam Randall can do at running back. But to go into the season not having that number one guy, it's definitely a concern.
On the defensive side, I'm curious how a defensive front that's got Peter Woods, that's got T.J. Parker, that's got the talent and production really that Clemson had at linebacker, struggles so badly against the run like they did last year. How do you quantify that?
It's interesting because you mentioned some names right there, right, that are really good pieces on that defensive line for Clemson. The interior is important, right? We talk about it at all levels, college, high school, college, and pro. The interior is very important. I think to answer your question, there are multiple levels, multiple aspects of what Clemson will do on the defensive front. We know how good we know how good Peter Woods is. You mentioned Peter Woods. We know what they have up front defensively and what they can do and how they can affect the quarterback with T.J. Parker, right? Another standout. 11 sacks a season ago, 8.5 tackles for loss. Those two, there's no question about. I do think, Hunt, there was a lot of question, a lot of concern with the personnel decisions involving rotations. I'm sure you've heard about it, with the linebacker core in terms of what the old defensive coordinator was not able to do with this Clemson defensive unit. I would say that was probably the biggest conversation in the offseason especially with Tom Allen coming in from Penn State, new defensive coordinator for Clemson. When you have to make a change and get rid of Wes Goodwin, Dabo Swinney made a change, but also a big, bold change by bringing Tom Allen in, right? A lot of people look at that as a lateral move when it happened in the offseason. So to kind of answer your question, I don't think the personnel was an issue a season ago. I think that Dabo Swinney and his staff looked at the pieces they had and said, man, we're not getting enough juice out of this fruit, right? We're squeezing, but we're not quite getting what we're looking for when it comes to production, linebackers, secondary as well. There were a lot of concerns, and I know Dabo Swinney hadn't made them all public, but when you make a change like Dabo Swinney did, getting rid of Wes Goodwin and bringing in Tom Allen, that just goes to show that there were issues. For as many people out there talked about Wes Goodwin, like a Brent Venables, and how highly regarded he is in the defensive world in college football, the bottom line is they didn't get it done. That interior of the defensive line you talked about a season ago, they didn't get it done. So I think it's now up to Tom Allen to have these guys ready in 2025.
Cole Bryson's our guest. He's with the Fan upstate there in South Carolina. A couple more here. I'm curious about special teams. What can you tell us about Clemson in the kicking game?
I think that's a wild card. Jack Smith is the only scholarship punter, and he has 5 career punts heading into Saturday's game. We know what Nolan Hooser is. He was really good in 2024, especially in that ACC championship game, right, in that walk-off win, per se, against SMU. He was 18 of 24 in 2024, FWAA Freshman Special Teams Player of the Year. He was on all kind of, preseason watch lists. So in the kicking game, I believe Nolan's going to be a solid piece, and there's not going to be a ton of concern. But since you brought up special teams, it's important to note that Dabo Swinney was asked about punter. And I know punter is not the position that we're all concerned about heading into the LSU game. But when Dabo Swinney, just a couple of weeks ago on the record, admits that maybe he didn't do enough in the transfer portal to address the punter need, he said to Chapel Fowler of the state newspaper when the question was asked, he said, look, if we drop the ball there this season and we can't produce at the punter position, again, everybody's number one concern heading into the season, he said, I'll take full responsibility. He said something to the effect, Hunt, of I'm going to have to pray that the name that I pull out of the hat, God will just allow them to be a punter for us this year that can actually be productive. Because no disrespect to the guys on the roster, it doesn't seem like Dabo Swinney has a lot of confidence, a lot of faith right now. A faith-based guy in Dabo Swinney, right? It doesn't seem like he has a lot of faith right now in the punting unit for Clemson. Again, I think Nolan Hooser will do a fine job at place kicker as well with field goals. He was really good a season ago, but there's definitely a concern. I know that's not something that's at top of mind for all the Clemson and LSU fans going into Saturday's game, but it is an area to watch.
No question about it. Kicking game's a big deal, especially in very close games. Cole, how do you think it goes on Saturday night there at Clemson?
You know what, man? I'm going back and forth. I can see a path. I can see a scenario in which both teams win. I really could. I could see LSU winning. I could see Clemson winning. Ultimately, I feel like Clemson's defensive line, going back to the conversation you and I just had a few minutes ago, I feel like Clemson's defensive line will be the X factor. And I think Clemson's defensive line, with that veteran experience, especially at the pass rush position, will be able to make enough plays down the stretch in Saturday night's game, put a little bit of pressure on Garrett Nussmeier just to make him uncomfortable enough, right? Sometimes all of those plays don't show up in the stat sheet, but those two guys on the edge could make life tough for Garrett Nussmeier. And then on the flip side, offensively, I think Cade Klubnik's going to be okay. I think he will be good enough through the air to get the win for Clemson. But I will say, I think the X factor for Clemson offensively is how Cade Klubnik uses his legs. Cade Klubnik is not known across the country as a dual-threat guy, right? He's an in-pocket passer. But if you look back a season ago, there were some games where Cade Klubnik had to use his legs, and those legs won the game in some critical ACC matchups. So with that being said, with Cade Klubnik having that ability, much like Trevor Lawrence did against Ohio State in a big playoff game a few years back, right? Much like Cade Klubnik did in ACC play, if Cade Klubnik can use his legs, I don't know how many of those will be designed runs, but I do think that could be the X factor offensively. I think Clemson's defensive line will be enough like I said, to give Garrett Nussmeier a little trouble, especially late in the game. And ultimately, I see Clemson getting the win at home. Obviously, if it were in a different spot, if it were out in Baton Rouge, I'd have a lot different concerns. But Clemson getting this game at home is a big, big plus for this team. And I like Clemson by about a touchdown to 10 points on Saturday night. I don't think it will be a blowout either way, but I do see Clemson winning and probably covering the spread in my mind.
Wire to Wire, weekdays 2 to 6 Central Time on the Fan, upstate in South Carolina. He's Cole Bryson. You can check him out on Twitter at @TheColeBryson if you're looking for some Clemson news over the next few days before LSU and Clemson get things rolling on Saturday night. Cole, we really appreciate it. Been a lot of fun. We'll do it again.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, guys.
That is Cole Bryson there in South Carolina. It's our Genesis opening drive. I think that's a great perspective there. I think that he's painted a picture that we have talked about a lot. Clemson's got a really good offensive line, a great wide receiver core, a good quarterback. What do they got at running back? We don't know. Why couldn't they stop the run last year? Was it scheme or personnel? Well, maybe we find out on Saturday. And as he mentioned, too, something we haven't talked about a lot, what does Clemson have in the kicking game? Could be a bit of a question mark there. So appreciate Cole for giving us a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Come back with What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. About half that work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. JD Pichell and his weekly slot coming up in 10 minutes. You also got SEC Power Rankings coming back. So now all of our football staples easing back in as it is game week. We are getting close to that weekend. I know all y'all are fired up, whether you're heading to Clemson, which I know a number of people are, or you're just ready to lock in and watch. We'll get you ready for it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. All right, let's do it. It's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
Alrighty, first one here. What if Keegan Bradley had chosen to be a playing captain in the Ryder Cup?
I wouldn't have hated it. I think he's playing well. I think he's best served not playing, and I think there are other American golfers that can help. And I think the guys that he picked today make a lot of sense. So I'm not upset about it. I'm surprised by it because I don't think there's anybody on the team who cares more about playing in the Ryder Cup than Keegan Bradley, and he was devastated when he was left off the one 2 years ago. Now he's a captain, which I don't think they should have guys who are still very much in their playing career as captains. It's very easy to find a 53-year-old captain of the Ryder Cup team. But they picked Keegan to be the captain, so he's going to be the captain. So I'm not upset about it, but I'm surprised that he didn't do it.
Yeah, no, this was a mistake from the get-go, choosing him as the captain, because he had been playing pretty good golf at that time, and this all could have been avoided. And even if
if Live Golf didn't exist and Phil was the captain.
Okay, well,
that would avoid it.
There's certainly some other options they could have gone with besides Phil Mickelson.
David Toms.
Yeah, anybody. Who cares?
That's who we could have gone with.
Anyone else besides
PGA champion David
anyone
Toms,
else
who's never
besides
been
Zach
chosen.
Johnson or Keegan Bradley.
We don't need
Let's
Zach.
avoid that. But Keegan Bradley is one of the 12 best American golfers. He should be playing for the Ryder Cup team. He's been playing great golf this year, and in the last 3 or 4 months, he's been one of the best golfers in the world. So he should be playing, but he's not because he's a captain, and they screwed this up.
You're overstating how well he's played. He's been good. He's not been elite.
Okay, I think he has been in the upper echelon of golfers the last 4 or 5 months in terms of his performance. If you look at strokes gained, all that stuff, he's been really good. But anyways, moving on, next one here. What if Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift break up as the playoffs start? That would be a real problem.
I mean, I don't even know. I just can't deal with the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. I hope they get married and have kids, and it's great. The deal where we care about the personal lives of celebrities, it's just weird to me. I don't care about any of the Cubs' wives or girlfriends or kids or any of that. It's just not. I just want them to go play baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it did, that would be quite the firestorm on the news circle there for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, I don't think
you'd have to have a designated camera person that had been focused on Taylor Swift in the suite to now film football.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I don't think that there's any way that Travis Kelce would be seeing a interview podium for the next few months after that, because
he's got a podcast.
Well, that's true. He does have a podcast. He'd probably be absent from those if I had to guess as well.
No, views would skyrocket.
Well, that's true. All right, next one. I saw one here earlier. What if Hunt starts a power ranking giving both Missouri and Vanderbilt some respect?
Let me see if I gave them respect.
I'm going to guess no.
I've got my power rankings right here.
Well, you can't read them right now.
I know. It's not great.
Yeah.
Not great
as
for
expected.
Missouri and Vanderbilt.
That's fine, Hunt. Vanderbilt is just going to prove you wrong as they did last year, and they're going to do it again this year.
They lost to Georgia State last year.
Okay, they did, but they also beat Alabama, and not to mention, you also had them very lowly ranked in the baseball power rankings, and they also tended to prove you wrong in that regard as well.
I don't know if they did. Lost in their regional, non-competitive.
But they
kind of turned into a pumpkin there.
Okay, they did, but
good run in Hoover, which we overestimate every year.
During the season, they were good, and you had them underranked in your initial power ranking, so you've always undervalued Vanderbilt.
They
It's
were
okay.
about what I thought. Just showed up in the regional.
All right, you did not think they were going to be as good in the SEC as they were. All right, next one. Where is it? What if LSU? No, that's okay. What if LSU jumps out to a 10-point lead, but it's all based on emotion and they fade in the second half as they did on the last openers?
The whole emotion thing. Like,
I don't know about that.
Everybody's gonna have a lot of emotion. It's the first game. It's top 10 game showdown. Like, I one of the cliches that I don't like is the term "came out flat."
Yeah.
That can happen if it's 11 a.m. and you get punched in the mouth by UAB. Like, okay, but like sometimes a better team just beats you, and just because you're down 14-0 doesn't mean you came out flat. And just because you get out 14-0 doesn't mean you just played better. I feel like more often than not. Every situation's different, but I don't like the emotion thing that we tend to just immediately slam into often.
All right, next one here. What if Hunt got paid $5,000 to go to the Live golf event in New Orleans next year?
No.
How much would they have to pay you to go, Hunt?
We don't need to get into
there
that.
Has to be a number.
$5,000's not going to do it.
There has to be a number. There has to be.
I would go to the Live event.
And okay, here's the stipulation too. You go. You also have to like take photos and like there has to be. You can't just go and hide. Like you have to be like a noted representative of the media there.
I would go. Oh, I have to be the media?
No. I'm just saying like you have to be. You can't just like.
Because I want to go drink a lot of beer.
No, I don't know. There has to be some stipulations here.
I would go for 10.
Okay, $10,000.
Reluctantly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how you can not go for $5,000, Hunt.
Because I despise the concept.
That much that
There's
you will
got
not
to be
take.
some sort of principle.
Someone is
the only
giving
reason
you
I'm going for the 10
$5,000
is because my wife would be ticked if I didn't go.
She would be ticked if you didn't go for 5.
I wouldn't tell her.
Oh, okay. So, but you would if it was 10.
At a certain point, you got to spill the beans. But she would be ticked.
All
but
right.
I despise the tour. I hate it from the fiber of my being for what it is and what it's trying to be. And I would try to stand as true to my principles as I could. And I hear the people that are driving around going, "Oh, you would go for 10? They went for money." That has nothing to do with it.
No,
it's not a money
different.
thing.
It's different.
It's a split golf in half thing.
Yeah, it is. All right, last one. Where was there? There was one more in here that I.
Well, there's 2 in the dock.
Oh, I didn't see that. All right, let's see. What if this game was in Baton Rouge?
It would be a big deal. Like, I've kind of decided where my pick lay for Friday. I wouldn't say that I'm 100% in, but I've kind of decided. If LSU was playing Clemson in Baton Rouge, I would have no problem picking LSU to win the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that lets the cat out of the bag for my Friday pick. I think it's going to be a close game. But it would swing things in LSU's favor for certain if it was in Baton Rouge. I think that the home crowd would be a big deal in Baton Rouge, and I think it's going to be a big deal on Saturday.
I agree. I mean, it's these two. I think LSU gets a little bit more of a better reputation than Death Valley Clemson does. Memorial Stadium, I should say. But yes, LSU is always considered to be one of the best home field advantages. LSU playing there in the first game against Clemson, I would definitely think.
And Clemson doesn't have Jalen Milroe, which certainly helps.
Yes, that also helps a lot.
God,
they do have
what
K
a
Club,
disaster.
Nick, that was. All right, last one real quick. What if Alabama loses in Tallahassee?
Speaking of
disasters.
I mean, I gotta say, like, I would have to watch all. How long is Feinbaum's show?
Oh yeah,
4 hours.
Something like that.
I would have to watch the whole thing on Monday.
Yeah, you would.
I'm assuming he'll have his show on Monday, Labor Day, but I would have to watch the whole thing because at that point, the 90% of the fan base in Alabama would give up on DeBoer, which is ridiculous but hilarious, and I would have to get involved in that because Florida State did go 2-10. And I need to hear Alabama fans after he loses to that team.
Oh, man.
So let's see if that can happen. That would be tremendous. I don't think it's going to happen. No. I haven't seen the number on that. I got to get by the way, my first SEC pick has to be tomorrow because Missouri plays tomorrow.
Man, there you go. The Missouri Tigers. Maybe if they win, they'll move up in the power
We'll see.
rankings
We'll do the entirety of the picks beyond that on Friday. Auburn's Friday. You got South Carolina Sunday, and I want to say maybe a Monday game. Maybe not. Maybe just Sunday.
See.
I think there's like 3 Sundays.
There's Sunday
South
games.
Carolina is certainly
South
Sunday
Carolina
against Virginia
Sunday,
Tech.
Yep. And then Notre Dame, Miami also play Sunday.
Okay. That was the ESPN that I was looking at, not the SEC page.
Alabama 13.5-point favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look into that, but that would be quality stuff. That's What If Wednesday here on this Wednesday. Step aside. JD Pichell, 1-3 Sports next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Labor Day is coming up on Monday. That means we kind of kiss summer goodbye. Now, around here, it's really warm for another 5 or 6 weeks, right? But you're kind of moving beyond summer. School's in, football's here. If you think, man, this was a hot summer, I really wish I would have had a swimming pool for this summer, don't let that happen again. Contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, and the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Let him customize a pool to the exact specifications that you're looking for. Go to Built by Renaissance, see some of the great work he's done for dozens and dozens and dozens around Baton Rouge, and become the next. Call him cell phone, 225-252-7745. Sit down with him. Joey's with you from start to finish. He's the owner of the company. He handles when you go through the design process. He handles the digging and the filling and the finishing of your pool. And depending on weather and the design of your pool, this can be done 6 to 8 weeks. Don't wait. Go ahead and get that pool of your dreams put in the backyard. You want to add an outdoor kitchen to that situation? Joey Blanchard and the team at Renaissance Homes and Pools is happy to do that as well. They're builtbyrenaissance.com. You can call Joey 225-252-7745. Builtbyrenaissance.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Talk some Saints in hour number 2. Waiver claim. Saints lost a couple of players, added a couple of players as well. What are they going to do at quarterback? We'll do some of that In the second hour, also hear from Garrett Nussmeier as he met with the media yesterday. Plus, my SEC Power Rankings coming your way at 2:30. So plenty to do, but it's 1:30. It's Wednesday. It means it's time to go to our guy, JD Pichell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports. Joins us weekly talking about the week to come in college football. It is week 1. Let's do it with JD. How we doing, boss?
Dude, I'm doing better now. It's legitimately week 1. We're all the way here. Yesterday, I'm texting you like, hey, man, are we still good to go for today? Like, are we still doing this? You're like, hey, dude, it's Tuesday. Like, you don't even come on for another 24 hours. So I'm just chomping at the bit to talk ball with Hunt Palmer and the fine people of Baton Rouge. We're here. Thanks for having me on.
I wasn't going to rat you out, but, like, I'm sitting here talking on the air, and I'm getting texts from JD, like, we good for today? And I was like, it's Tuesday, boss. Like, we're still a day out. But he was ready to go, and he's ready to go now. So let's crank it up. I'm going to leave our main course here in Baton Rouge for the end, but let's start where the national eyes will be first thing on Saturday, and that's, of course, Ohio State and Texas. Where is the biggest advantage you see on the field between those two teams?
I think the biggest advantage – it's a great question. I wasn't prepared for that one to be the starter. I think the advantage for me is the Texas – trenches and the run game versus what Ohio State's breaking in. And that's not to speak less of what Ohio State has in the front seven. I think that when I break this game down, it's going to take less from Arch Manning to win this game than it would take from Julian Sayin. Like, I think if you told me both quarterbacks had the same stat line, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, I'd say Texas won and covered. With them obviously being a 1.5 dog, they won, and they probably won by a touchdown or maybe a field goal or a close game still either way. But I think that Texas and what they have up front allows them the better opportunity to win ugly.
So this is a big picture question, but let's just toss it out there because I think that Ohio State, Texas, LSU, and Clemson are kind of in the same boat. Conference champions obviously get in to the playoff, so we're not talking about that. We're talking about at-large berths here. If we don't have an SMU at 11-1, we don't have an Indiana at 11-1, and you don't have a team that's off the radar like that snags a couple of at-large spots. Do you think teams that lose in week 1 have a chance to get in at 9-3 at large?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Not unless it's like, because I guess the only teams that could do that would be a Florida or an Oklahoma. And if Oklahoma loses to Illinois State and Florida loses to LIU, we're going to have a very different conversation this time next week about those two teams. So I think that especially these two teams, if either of them go 9-3, I don't know that there's like 3 good losses on the resume that would get them into the college football playoff over some of those teams that would be more deserving at a 10-2. That's not to speak ill of Texas' schedule. Like, you could tell me you lost to Georgia and A&M. Those wouldn't be like bad losses necessarily, but I don't think it would be enough to where I'm putting Texas in at 9-3 or putting Ohio State in at 9-3 if they got losses to Texas and Michigan and Illinois or whoever it ends up being. So I'll go ahead and say no for right now. I think 9-3 is the firm cutoff unless there's some extenuating circumstances of having the toughest schedule in college football and some close losses.
All right, well, let's talk about the other games around the country in college football. Notre Dame, Miami coming up on Sunday. A couple of teams with a little bit of transition at the quarterback spot. How do you feel about that one?
You know, the quarterback's going to get all the shine, and it makes all the sense in the world storylines for both guys, with Carson Beck transferring over from Georgia and the cars and the social media stuff and DJ Carr winning the job in fall camp. Call me crazy, checking the weather app, all right? We're checking the weather in Miami on Sunday. Scattered showers. Quick Google search suggests there is not a closable roof at Hard Rock Stadium. I think this might be an offensive line kind of game here. Like, I think for Mario Cristobal especially, you know, check his background with him being from the offensive line and being an offensive line coach and an offensive lineman in his own right. You look at how he's talked about how they build their roster. Like, it feels a lot like Miami wants to be one of those like old SEC teams just from how they talk about themselves and how Cristobal presents. If that's who you want to be, go be it in this game against the national title runner-up, the team that majors in front seven football with Marcus Freeman and company. So I think with it potentially being a little slippery ball situation, a little waterlogged situation like we saw in Ireland with what looked like a heavy football to throw, I think that Carson Beck can't lose the game, but I think it's going to be about the offensive line for both sides. I like Notre Dame in this spot because of that reason. I think they're better on a scrimmage. But if you're Miami, you want to prove a point, this is kind of the game to do it.
Let's talk Alabama and Florida State. A disaster for Mike Norvell. Ended up cleaning house on the offensive side. A little bit of trash talk coming from Tallahassee, and then you got Alabama, who I'm not really sure what to make of. How do you see Saturday?
I think Alabama wins. I think 13.5 is a little bit rich for my blood there, huh? Like 2 touchdowns on the road. I understand that Thomas Castellanos has kind of dug himself a bit of a pit here. But if we're going to be honest, I mean, I'm glad you are talking about this. I haven't had a chance to talk about this since, last season. But Thomas Castellanos calling out Alabama, saying Saban can't save them. On one hand, you're kind of like, dude, what are you doing? That's still Alabama. On the other hand, if you're a Florida State fan, you're like, thank goodness somebody's got some pulse. Like, thank goodness we've got some competitive juice after we're going palms up a year ago when we played Memphis and getting embarrassed. Like, I think the edge for Florida State and how new of a building and roster they are. I mean, 5 new coaches, new coordinators, 45 new players, including the freshmen. Like, I think the pressure actually here kind of lies with Alabama. And I think, Thomas Castellanos and all that is totally a fair storyline and off the back up of smack talk, whatever. But, like, if Florida State gets boat raced, I don't think we think anything all that new of Florida State. Oh, Florida State may not be that good this year. What do you do? If Alabama doesn't look great, if Ty Simpson in a spot in his career he's built to now for his entire time at Alabama, waited 3 years, Alabama's supposed to return to their standard at Bama, which is make the playoff and compete for natties. If they don't do it, it's like, okay, hey, this is going to get uncomfortable very, very quickly. So I think the pressure is actually more on Bama in this spot. I like Bama to win, Florida State to cover.
What's your confidence level in Ty Simpson for the year?
Say that one more time. My what win total?
Your confidence level in Ty Simpson for the year.
I thought you said my coddling of Ty Simpson. I was like, man, I can't coddle him. I can't do it. I think my confidence for him overall is more than it was with Jalen Milroe, not because of his ability, even though I think he is a talented cat. Like, you don't get 5 stars next to your name and get to go to Bama if you're not talented. I just think he'll be more consistent. And when Ryan Grubb's calling the plays and Kalen DeBoer's your head coach, just give me something dependable. If I know what I'm getting from you every week, I can game plan. I can't game plan if you're throwing 3 picks against Oklahoma in 1 week and then looking like a freaking Avenger against Georgia the week before. So I think the consistency and how good they are around him gives me confidence in the offense. I don't think Ty Simpson's going to be a first-team All-SEC cat or just be a Heisman Trophy finalist guy. I think he'll be dependable. I think that's what they need.
All right. Chris Marler, a guy here that runs our social media and works with us here at LouisianaSports.net, tried to sell me yesterday on one game on Saturday that no one's going to be watching. Everyone's going to be watching Ohio State, Texas at 11 o'clock. And Syracuse and Tennessee are going to kick off over in Atlanta. Syracuse had a pretty good year last year. Now they got to make a change at quarterback, obviously. And Tennessee lost a lot. The number's 13.5 there. Any chance Syracuse really upsets the apple cart there in Atlanta against the Vols?
When Fran Brown's your head coach, I think there's always a chance. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I would be extremely shocked if it were to happen. When I say there's a chance, like, there's also a chance that I walk out into my backyard and get struck by lightning. You know, it's just probably not going to happen. I'm more curious to just see like the overall flavor from Tennessee offensively, because Josh Heupel's kind of been one of those chefs over the course of the last few years where kind of those reality TV shows. I don't know if you watch those on Netflix. Like they've always got some funny name like Chopped or Super Chef, or they give them like Pop-Tarts and beef liver and say, "Go ahead and make me something with this." Like, this is kind of the most difficult ingredients that I think Josh Heupel's had offensively. Like a quarterback who missed spring practice, 2 true freshman receivers they're going to have to depend on. One of their go-to backs is a former walk-on. They lose a lot on the offensive line. Like, this is kind of Josh Heupel's Pop-Tarts and beef liver where he's got to make it work. And that's the most fascinating part to me. Not so much if they cover, if they beat Syracuse, just what's the overall flavor? Are we winning games in the 20s this year, or do we have a guy at quarterback that we feel real good about and we're throwing it all over the yard? And we at least try to do that here early on against the Syracuse defense that was pretty gettable last year.
From Syracuse and Tennessee to some more orange, that's Clemson, LSU and Clemson, 6:30 on Saturday night. Give me your thoughts.
Well, one, I can't wait for this. This is going to be awesome. I want to preface with, if LSU loses, I'm going to tell you why I think they're going to win. If LSU loses, there is going to be so much room for overreaction, and some of that is fair. Some of that is warranted. It's going to suck. It's going to suck for me as someone who picked them to the national championship. Like, it'll be a tough, cry in the shower kind of night. That's the first part of this. But I would caution the good folks in Baton Rouge and the good folks that watch college football to have the funeral service for the Tigers. This is a team hunt, and I'm curious to hear your take here. I counted 14 players that will be either freshmen or transfers that I expect to have a role in the game against Clemson, which makes me think, even though I think they're going to beat Clemson on Saturday night, they're going to be a better team in the month of October than they are. They're going to be a better team in the month of November when those pieces really start to gel. Now, I think they're going to beat Clemson because I trust Joe Sloan and Garrett Nussmeier to have answers for the for the Clemson pressure. I think that Clemson having a totally honest box against that LSU run game is not going to be something they can do. And when that happens, I think this plays downfield. I think it is a 31-27 game. I think LSU gets it done. And I like all the chatter around LSU talking about haven't won the opener, haven't done this, Brian Kelly that. I think this is a football team that seems to have its head on straight. I mean, you're closer to it than me, but from everything I gathered and being around them at media days, seems to be able to take that kind of narrative and turn it into ammo. And so for that reason, I think LSU gets it done. They win the opener, and the Tigers win over the other Tigers on Saturday night.
Let's certainly hope so. I can't deal with it anymore. I've done this 5 years in a row losing. If they do it again, I just don't know. It's just getting it to be a tired act around here. They keep putting him on the schedule, so we'll see what LSU can do. He's JD Pichell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. You can find him on 3's YouTube channel here every single Wednesday at 1:30. Thanks, man. Enjoy the football.
We're back. Love you, brother. See you soon.
JD Pichell with On 3 Sports. Come back, talk about a really cool story that happened in the NFL yesterday with local ties. Talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, think luxury. It is a luxury brand of vehicles. When I say luxury, you probably think about some other brands that have been around a little bit longer, and that's fine. That's natural. They've been around a little bit longer. Put Genesis on your list. Go by and see. The odds are that most of you that are listening to me right now have not been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Change that. Go by and see them, airline at Pickell, or they'll come to you. Valet test drives, very much available. Contact one of their brand ambassadors. They'll drive it right on over. Get you behind the wheel. They'll point out all the features, all the bells and whistles. You will feel the comfort. You will feel the style. And you understand the safety. They're all the vehicles, every one in the line is an IHA top safety pick. All of them. So you know you're in one of the safest cars on the road. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them, airline at Pickell. Check them out online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. Louisiana.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Find them online, builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Very, very, very cool story coming out in the last 24 hours on cutdown day in the NFL. The guy that's defied odds really his last 8 years in the football world. Josh Williams makes the 53-man roster with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent. Of course, y'all know Josh's story. Had some offers at smaller schools, said, no, I want to play in the SEC. I want to go play at LSU. So came to LSU and was a walk-on, worked his way through and became the leading rusher on the team in 2022 in Brian Kelly's first year at LSU, and then was a big piece to an offense that led the country with the Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-round receivers, but he was a big piece to the running game on that team. And then this past year was picked to wear number 18 and had a really nice year for LSU and was not drafted. Once again, kind of thought, well, this guy, probably not worth a scholarship the first time around, not worth a draft pick this time around, and he found his way to the field. You're talking about a guy who in the preseason game against the Bills in the finale had 8 carries, 28 yards, had a catch for 13 yards against the Steelers a week earlier. But it's not really just about the way he runs the ball, which he can run the ball. It's about the fact that he pass protects very well. It's about the fact that he can play special teams. It's about the fact that when you bring him into your locker room, that if he is replaced at some point, he's not going to quit. If there's someone who beats him out, he's not going to tuck his tail and run. He's not going to pout. He's not going to sulk. He's just going to work. And he's worked to be a scholarship athlete at LSU, to be a leading rusher in the SEC, to be number 18 at one of the most prestigious universities and football programs in the country, and then to make a team in the NFL. Not a practice squad, a 53. It's an incredible story that Josh Williams has carved out. And guys at his position who were undrafted have the shortest of shelf lives in the NFL. An undrafted running back has got to turn heads to make it, because you're talking about, 1, undrafted folks have to do that, and 2, running backs feel like a dime a dozen. Feel like you can always go get the next one. So he's going to have to keep working. But if you know anything about Josh Williams, he's going to. And I realize that there's not a lot of Buccaneers fans listening right now, and I realize that the Saints are looking up at the Bucs in the South right now as a team that's won that division. But it's a great story for a young man that continues to write an amazing story in his football life. I shouldn't say it's surprising. It's just kind of what he's done. And it's really, really cool to have watched Josh Williams make it as an undrafted free agent with the Bucs. So awesome stuff for the former LSU Tiger, who will join the Bucs week 1 next week in the National Football League. So that'll wrap up hour number 1 here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Missed any of the first hour of our show today, catch it on demand. It was a fast-moving hour. We opened the show today, which we don't normally do, but it was the time we could work it in because of obvious obligations. Cole Bryson's got a radio show that starts at 2 o'clock our time. I had What If Wednesday, had JD Pichell, so I wanted to get to Cole Bryson at the top of the show. We talked Clemson with Cole Bryson, who's with the Fan upstate in Greenville. Talked Cade Klubnik, talked Clemson running game, Clemson defense. Why Could they not stop the run with all that NFL talent? Well, we asked Cole that, and he gave us his answer on it, plus some special teams concerns with Clemson. So if you missed that, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. You can certainly search Hunt on LSU and find that there. We had What If Wednesday. You can catch that on demand as well. JD Pichell, host of the Hard Count on 3, was with us right there. Search Hunt Palmer Show wherever you find your sound. Google, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you find us, you can certainly find the Hunt Palmer Show. Just search it and subscribe. All right, Saints veteran quarterback options. Looks like they just settled on a quarterback to bring in. Also some Garrett Nussmeier options when we come back after SportsCenter on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, if you're in a house that was built sometime around 2000, whether you helped in building that or you bought a home that was built around 2000, around that 25-year mark, David Duvall and his team find that some issues may arise in the bathroom, whether it's issues with the foundation of the tub, whether it's the shower functionality. If you are in a house like that and you're starting to notice some of those things, don't just call the handyman. Don't try to YouTube it and figure it out. Get a licensed, bonded, and insured company that's been at this for 30 years to come in and help you out. He can handle tub-to-shower conversions, put in a brand new tub. They can deal with sinks and vanities as well. All of it customized to your specs. All of it done right the first time to leave the competition behind. Check out David and his team at OneBathAndClosets.com. It's OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
Christine Lisi. Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice has accepted a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy connected to his involvement in a 2024 car crash. He'll start serving the suspension at the beginning of this season, will be eligible to return in Week 7. The Ravens making Kyle Hamilton the highest paid safety in NFL history. Sides agreed to a 4-year, $100 million extension, $82 million guaranteed. Vikings bringing back a familiar face, acquiring receiver Adam Thielen from the Panthers. He provides needed depth at the position and is a solid addition for Minnesota, notes ESPN's Dominique Foxworth.
I think Thielen helps on the field, but I think he also really helps with that locker room, because I think that he's a guy who understands what it's like in Minnesota. Has been there for a while, has been through some ups and downs, and they have a good thing going there.
Thielen starred for Minnesota from 2013 through 2022. Patriots claim former Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito off waivers. Baseball, Aaron Judge has hit 1 of 6 home runs for the Yankees this afternoon, number 41 on the season for Judge. New York leads Washington 11-0. Top 5, Yankees holding the second AL wildcard spot.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition Hunt Palmer Show, officially working towards the weekend, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. SEC Power Rankings coming up in 30 minutes. We'll get to the Saints, as they have reached out and acquired a quarterback to bring into the fold. After yesterday, you saw Jake Haener being released. We'll talk about a little bit of the practice squad as well, plus who the Saints have claimed off some waivers. So we'll talk some Saints coming up in the next segment. Garrett Nussmeier met with the reporters yesterday. I was there at Football Ops, and it was the first time we talked to Garrett since SEC Media Days in Atlanta. That's odd to me that Garrett has not come out to player interviews. We've had a number of those. I think like 4 or 5 times we've talked to players, and Garrett has not come. I don't have a huge problem with it. I just noticed it. Usually quarterback is very much available, and Garrett hasn't been as much. So wanted to kind of go into some of the things that he talked about yesterday, and one of them is obviously wearing the number 18. We'll knock that out here before we get into some of his thoughts on the LSU defense. But Garrett talked about wearing 18 for LSU.
I mean, it means everything. Just to have that opportunity to wear that number here at LSU, it's a huge honor. Something I'm very grateful for, very thankful to be selected to wear that. And so I wear it with a lot of pride, and I'm going to do everything I can to step up to it and make sure that I represent it the right way.
Look, I talked about this on Monday. I just feel like that guy and that number makes a lot of sense, and I'm good with it. It's not going to result in more wins or losses. I think the most important thing for me is that the guy that the players and the coaches respect enough to give that number is the guy that's taking the snaps, is the guy that is making the decisions in crunch time for the football team. And you can do that wearing number 9. We saw that pretty successfully in 2019. You can do that wearing number 5. We saw that pretty successfully in 2023. I think you can do it at 18, and I just feel good about him wearing that number. So that was something I wanted to discuss at the beginning, but I think there are some more impactful sound bites here from Garrett yesterday. I asked him specifically about the defense in camp and it kind of throwing some punches back at the offense. That's not something we have seen the defense do over the last 3 camps. So he told me what he thought about the defense and their competition day in and day out.
It's been awesome. I mean, it's definitely been the most competitive fall camp that I've been a part of since I've been here. Just going back and forth at each other. The offense wins a day, defense wins a day, and I think that's something that's so healthy and so good for our football team. In the past, when you're winning every practice and things like that, and you're winning every drill, it's not necessarily a great feeling. It's kind of, you feel good about it as an offense, but then you're also a little bit concerned. You know what I mean? But I think this year, if you just look at both sides of the ball, we got athletes everywhere. We got guys that can make plays, and so I think it just speaks to the fullness of our team.
I agree with him completely on that. I am not new to going to practice, but all of us on the beat are new to seeing as much as we're seeing now at practice. seeing as much 7-on-7 as we're seeing as much 11-on-11 as we're seeing. And for me, like, I'm now drawing on those experiences. I'm drawing on what I watched when Jaden Daniels went out there and torched that team consistently in 2023 in camp. I drew from that experience. It seemed odd at the time, and it was a harbinger of things to come. And I feel the same way about last year when I thought, man, they're not covering anybody, and Miller Moss went out there and threw for 370 yards. And I feel like this time around, the defense absolutely stepped up to the plate. Now, I have my concerns about the offensive line. I'm going to talk about that in a second with what Garrett had to say about him. But, like, I think that we see enough that's not just running through cones where you can't really tell anything in the Les Miles era. Like, we can see some stuff now. And I think some of the things that we bring to you have some substance behind them. And one of them for this go-round with camp was, like, the defensive guys are playing better than I have seen them play in the time we've watched as much 11-on-11 as we've seen. And Garrett spoke about facing what we think is going to be a good defense every day during camp.
It's been awesome, you know. When you're practicing against a good defense, you know, it helps. It's also Coach Baker. You know, he is an unbelievable football coach, and so going against him every single day, you know, I feel like he'll do things just to try and mess with me, and you can see it, you know. So, just it's a challenge every single day, you know, and it's helped me not only to grow as a player, but also to approach practice how I have to approach games, you know, and just making sure I come to work with the right mindset every single day, no days off, because if you do, you know, they're going to embarrass us out there.
I mean, he's right. If we don't come with the right mindset, that defense can embarrass you. And I thought at times the defense just dominated the LSU offense. And a lot of that is up front. And I have a few things that I want to talk about with this topic, because it's been the topic of the last 3 weeks of camp, is what about this offensive line? What about this defensive line? What are we supposed to take from the fact that they're struggling to run the ball at times? What are we supposed to take about the way they're winning up front with the defense? Is the defensive line that good? Does the offensive line have its issues? And I have my thoughts on it, but I think the quarterback's take on it is a little bit more important. So we'll talk about Garrett and what he's seen from the offensive line facing that good defensive front.
I think they've done an unbelievable job. You know, I think Braylon Moore has done a really good job stepping into that center role and being kind of the catalyst of that group, and Josh Thompson as well coming in. And I think you see the young guys stepping up a lot, who have done an unbelievable job just embracing their opportunities. And so I got full confidence in those guys. You know, I'm ready to see them finally prove it, you know. And so it's something that I'm very excited for.
Here is my take on the defensive line and the offensive line. I've settled on this, and I will learn a lot more on Saturday than I will have the last month. But this is my take from watching it. You can take it as gospel. You can take it as a guy who has no idea what he's talking about. But here's my take that I've settled on. I think LSU up front defensively is going to be exceptional this year. I think they're going to be elite in college football. I think they're going to be one of the best front sevens in the Southeastern Conference. I believe that. I believe in Jack Pyburn. I believe in Patrick Payton. I believe in Gabe Relaford. I believe in Jamari Butler. I believe in Bernard Gooden and Ahmad Bro and Dom McKinley, and I believe in Jacoby and Guillory. And, like, I think that is 8 dudes that can play at the point of attack. Clearly, I believe in Whit Weeks. Clearly, I believe in Harold Perkins. I think Wes Weeks is going to do a fine job. I think LSU is elite on the defensive front. I think LSU is struggling at the offensive line. I think that. And I think that they're going to have to do some things to try to shield that away. And I believe it's going to cost LSU a game or two because they don't run the ball well enough and Garrett's not protected well enough. Is that Saturday? We'll see. Is that against Alabama on the road? We'll see. Does Ole Miss or Florida have enough to get you at the point of attack? We'll see. I don't think LSU is going to be awful on the offensive line. I think they have issues. I don't think they're nearly as good as they were last year. That's my opinion. Again, we're going to learn more on Saturday. But I will tell you this. Garrett Nussmeier has practiced against what I believe is an elite defensive front against the offensive line that's going to be in front of him all year for a month. And he has dealt with pressure. He has dealt with commotion in the backfield. He's dealt with all this and had practice doing it. Now, it's a different beast when they come at you and they can hit you. I get it. He knows right now nobody's hitting him. But he has had a little bit of time to practice that. He didn't get a lot of practice at that last year. He didn't get hit very much. He didn't get pressured very much. So this camp was probably a little bit eye-opening to him, and hopefully that's prepared him for Saturday. But I think that's where I've landed on those two units going against each other a lot. I don't think that LSU's offensive line is atrocious and they're propping up a mediocre LSU defensive line that just looks good because of that. No, I think LSU's defensive line is that good. But I think that the offensive line has got its issues. And we'll see. But Garrett is speaking confidently about them. So is Brian Kelly. Again, we'll see. Now, this is a good answer as well from Garrett, talking about the vibes in the program. There's one piece of this answer, and you'll hear it, where he talks about the vibes as game day approaches. And you got to like hearing this from the quarterback.
It's very different. I think there's a growing confidence around this building. And I think it's been like that, and people have seen that even since spring ball. Just with the closeness, I think, of our team has brought out a competitive edge, I think. Guys wanting to beat each other, and it's been awesome to see. And I think also we have a lot of confidence and swagger, I think, on each side of the ball. On defense, you got guys like Whit Weeks and Perk and just leading, you know what I mean? And on offense, you got guys like Aaron Anderson, Barry Brown, Xavier Thomas. I think there's just so much confidence and swagger around the building that it just leads to this feeling that that it used to be like I can remember as a freshman when Derek Stingley was out there and those guys like that. That's how it used to feel. LSU used to feel like a confident, swaggy football team, and I think you're starting to see that now again.
I like the sound of that because I can tell you this firsthand. I've seen the swaggy LSU teams. I watched 2011 up close and personal. I work with one of those guys every Saturday during football season in BT. I watched that 2019 team, the team that was getting the GAT in the White House. And everybody's confident and full of swagger when you don't have a loss. And guess what? I guess there are a couple teams that lost last week, but just about nobody's got a loss. It's easy to carry yourself with confidence and swagger when you got a 0 in that loss column, and everybody's got that right now. We'll see what happens when they get out on the football field. But I like the sound of it. I like the sound of a team that's confident. I like the sound of a team that feels like it's good. I hesitate to use the term knows it's good. You can know you're good in November. It's hard to know you're good right now. Think you're good, believe you're good, and I'm hopeful that that comes out on Saturday. I'm hopeful that LSU plays like that and that you see guys that have a little edge to them. Remains to be seen, but Garrett feels like he sees it. He knows better than I do, so we'll take it. That's Garrett Nussmeier from yesterday. Going to write some things up on the defense specifically at LouisianaSports.net in the coming days. I've got a piece up right now about Harold Perkins and his coming back from the injury. I think that plays better in writing than it does on radio. Harold's answers are pretty quick and to the point, which is great for writing. Not as good for radio. You like your 20-second sound bites here, and you don't get a lot from Perk. But he was in a dark place, and there's a story up on LouisianaSports.net right now that kind of details his road back and how much fun he's having right now. And I think that's just part of the swagger this team can have. So if you want to read that, you can over at LouisianaSports.net. Saints have brought in a quarterback. Saints have made some waivers claims. We'll talk about the Saints roster since last time we met and talked about the Saints. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance front. Still hurricane time. It's been quiet around here thus far. We like that. But you understand that you never know when the next one shows up. Maybe it'll be this month. Maybe it'll be next month. Maybe it'll be next year. Make sure your insurance policy's ready for that. What's your business interruption limit? How'd you get to that number? Make sure if you're out of work due to a storm that your insurance company's paying for that. I've seen that pay big dividends for businesses that were in trouble because it couldn't work. I know we always want to talk about premium, and the Highland Insurance Group knows that premium is important to its clients. That's why they shop with the dozens of carriers they're contracted with as an independent broker. But the coverage is every bit that important when that crisis happens. Car accident, lawsuit, injury, whatever the case is. Let the Highland Insurance Group audit your business's policies right now and make sure that you're covered properly. Hurricane season, car accident, like I mentioned, whatever may happen, they'll make sure you are covered. It's the Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carver's team right here in Baton Rouge. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Bend Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to put in the pool of your dreams? Joey Blanchard and the team at Renaissance Homes and Pools happy to help you with that. I know we're about to wave goodbye to summer, even though the hot weather is going to stick around here for a little bit. But if you've gone through this summer thinking, man, really wish I would have put that pool in, well, don't make the same mistake for next year. You can get a pool put in the course of about 2 months, depending on the weather and the size of your project. Start that process now with Joey Blanchard. He'll sit down with you, go through this incredible software they've got. He's shown me it. It's amazing. If you have an idea what you want to do with your pool, you can do that, and he'll show it to you to scale. If you have no idea where to start, he can help you with that as well. And you go through the design process with the owner of the company, and he's there when you dig. He might be doing some digging, quite frankly. If somebody takes a lunch break, he'll jump up there on the dozer and get it done. He'll be there for the pouring of the pool, for the filling of the pool, for the completion of that pool. It's just a comforting feeling knowing you're working with the owner of the company, because you're not going to deal with somebody who may go take another job or may have eyes elsewhere. No, you got the guy that is invested in what's going on your property. And that's what you get with Joey Blanchard and Renaissance Homes and Pools. So give Joey a call, 225-252-7745. Again, 225-252-7745. And let him know you're ready to get that pool, ready to get that outdoor kitchen, and make sure that next summer you don't melt. You got the pool. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com. All right, let's talk some Saints. Practice squad day as the Saints continue to add some players to their practice squad. And my eyes were immediately on quarterback, right? And you realize when they waived Jay Kaner, and you're looking at the situation, and they didn't sign a veteran quarterback in the offseason, and you were going in with Rattler and Shuck and Haener, like, okay, that's 3. You're going to settle on a starter. You're going to settle on a backup. That's going to be Shuck and Rattler. Like, Haener's going to be the odd man out, but probably keep him around as your third quarterback. And then they waived him, and everybody's looking, going, well, I guess they're going to see what he can do elsewhere, and they're going to go find – I thought they're going to go find a veteran. It's not easy to do, but you can go get C.J. Beathard. You can go get Jeff Driscoll. There are guys out there that you can go bring in that have been in the league for 6 years, 8 years to come into the quarterback room and to help. And the Saints did not do that. The Saints have gone to the well. The Saints have brought back Jake Haener to the practice squad, and the Saints have brought back Hunter Deckers to the practice squad. So you feel like Haener will be elevated. He'll be the third guy. And Deckers is just a guy that they want to keep around. Hunter Deckers is an interesting story. This is a guy who was Brock Purdy's backup at Iowa State, who was caught up in the sports gambling situation there in Ames. So he ended up having to leave Iowa State and played quarterback for Iowa Western in 2024. He went undrafted, and the Saints added him as a rookie into their minicamp and OTAs, and now they brought him back. So when I say he's an Iowa Western guy, you go, oh, well, this is some D15 guy that they brought in that has no talent, no ability, that they're throwing something against the wall. Well, actually, he was a good high school football player who earned a Big 12 offer and was going to be starting quarterback in the Big 12, but then he got in trouble. So the talent level is major college football. He just had to take a detour. Now, I don't believe that Deckers, who grew up on a cattle farm, is going to be the quarterback of the Saints' future, but it's interesting that they feel good enough about him to bring him in. I'm curious about the makeup of this quarterback room because it is young, especially in experience. Like, I know Shuck is old, and we make those jokes all the time, like he's the oldest rookie in the league, but you've got him, you've got Rattler's a second-year guy, you've got Haener, who's been in the league for 3 years, who's young and inexperienced and hasn't played a lot, and then you bring in Deckers, who's 24 years old and hasn't been in the NFL. So I guess the thought is that you've got Kellen Moore, who's my age, who there are quarterbacks in the NFL plenty older than Kellen Moore, so he's kind of the old man in the room who's played in the NFL, and maybe that takes that place. That makes some sense to me. I don't know if that's the way they're looking at it or not, but it's a young, inexperienced group. I would have liked a veteran to come in at some point. Didn't happen. Okay, well, you move forward. So that's what they're doing at the quarterback spot. You look at the rest of the practice squad. I figured Clyde Edwards-Helaire may be on there. He's not. He is headed back to Kansas City. The Saints have signed defensive tackle Jonah Williams to the practice squad. They are bringing in Nephi Sewell back to the practice squad at linebacker. He's done some nice things as a depth piece at linebacker. Terrell Burgess, who's a safety, is going to be on the practice squad. Dallas Beanham, who is a corner, is on the practice squad. Trayton Welch, who a lot of people thought might have a chance to make the active 53, is brought back on the practice squad. Welch Courts made that really good catch in the second preseason game on a ball from Tyler Shuck. He had a really nice camp, and with 2 of your tight ends on the PUP list, that's a guy that you figured might make the team. He's a likely elevation early in the season as you figure out what you've got behind Juwan Johnson. And then the most interesting one to me, not because it's going to impact the Saints significantly this year, unless there's an injury, is Charlie Smith. Charlie Smith has shown himself to be a quality NFL kicker. But Blake Grupe's had a brilliant camp. So Blake Grupe is clearly the winner of that competition. Charlie Smith is an asset. And I think by keeping him on the practice squad, you've got a chance to get something for Charlie Smith down the road. You all know, we are 100% sure that by the end of September, 2 or 3 teams are going to be ticked at their kicker. Somebody's going to miss a kick in overtime. Somebody's going to miss a 51-yarder late in the game that would have won it. And some coach is going to get cranky like Sean Payton used to always get, and they're going to cut their kicker. And Charlie Smith has put some things on tape that suggest he might be able to help. I mean, we know he's got one of the strongest legs in the NFL. This guy is good from 65. But he's become more consistent. And the Saints have a young kicker who now, after a bumpy first year, has kind of proven himself as a guy you can trust. So if you're a team, an organization, the Saints, that's looking at accruing assets for the future, draft picks, young players, Charlie Smith may be someone you can deal. I think he's a good asset to keep around. I'm being very presumptive on this. I know that. This would take a few dominoes to fall. And there's always the 38-year-old kicker who's been at this for 25 years that teams will knock on the door of. But I think a young kicker with that much talent like Smith could net something down the road. And, of course, the reason you have everybody on the practice squad is if there are injuries, you've got somebody you can elevate that can help you. And I think there's reason to believe if Blake Grupe has a quad issue or hamstring issue and you gotta make a move there, Charlie Smith may be able to help you. I talked to two Saints beat writers. One was Luke Johnson in the summer that thought Charlie Smith might win this job. Now, clearly that did not happen because Grupe was awesome. And I want to be sure and give him his flowers in this segment as we're talking about this. He's been great. Smith's good. And I think that could be something interesting for New Orleans moving forward. So Ross Jackson at LouisianaSports.net has the Saints practice squad tracker that's up on the website. We're seeing it as things move forward. Again, I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a chance to make the team on the squad. Did not. He's going back to Kansas City, so Saints are still putting that together. And as we know, things are bound to change between now and next Sunday. It just is going to happen that way with every team in the NFL. Saints are not immune to that, but there's some interesting pieces there. And I think the way they're handling quarterback is certainly chief among those to this point. So if you're looking for Saints content, LouisianaSports.net's got it. And, of course, we also have it over at Hunt on Saints. Check that out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We certainly do appreciate that. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. When we come back, SEC Football Power Rankings, edition number 1. We always keep number 1 around to make fun of me in December. We'll lay the foundation when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. How about America's best warranty? It's industry leading. You're talking about a powertrain warranty for 10 years, 100,000 miles. You're talking about a bumper-to-bumper new vehicle warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper-to-bumper. Love to hear that. Enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, 5 years, unlimited miles, complimentary scheduled maintenance. You got to love that. It's all part of being a Genesis driver. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. When you go in, you're going to feel like a guest, not a customer. You're going to be treated unbelievably by their brand ambassadors, and you'll see how incredible that line of vehicles is. My personal favorite is the GV80. If you're looking for an SUV and you haven't checked out Genesis, just go check it out online at GenesisOfBatonRouge.com. You will see some things you like, and you can go by and see them airline at PQ, get into a test drive, and get behind the wheel of Genesis. Become one of those Genesis drivers so you can have the 3-year complimentary valet scheduled maintenance. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, airline at PQ, online at GenesisOfBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, Propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Myers man is going to be so disappointed in me.
Why?
Because I was talking about Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Yeah.
And talking about Joey jumping in and doing some digging, which he will do from time to time. And I called it a bulldozer.
Oh, no, Hunt.
We're looking for excavators.
Yes. Bulldozers.
Now, Myers has all that licked. You can't get a single piece of equipment or a dinosaur by him. He's elite in his knowledge of both.
Maybe he needs a job at Renaissance Homes and Pools.
I'm all for that. Like, massive paying job.
Yeah.
I'll pull him right out of daycare in 2 seconds.
He knows all the equipment.
He does. I don't know that he can operate anything.
No, he's just gonna be the man. He'll be the manager of the equipment. He'll make sure we got this many of this any type of equipment you need. He knows what it is. So he knows.
Problem is, if he's in charge of that, you're probably gonna end up with more garbage trucks than you need.
Well,
candidly, because he's big into the garbage trucks.
Okay.
So we'll see. But yeah, Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking for a pool? Joey help you build it and dig it, but he's gonna use an excavator instead of a bulldozer. I don't know that. Myers does. Joey does. Call Joey. Make that happen for you. All right. It's time for me to make a fool out of myself. We like that. Let's do some SEC football power rankings. Week 1.
Hunt's SEC power rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs.
All right. The Georgia Bulldogs have the best coach and, generally speaking, have the best roster. Last year, the SEC made them go to Oxford and to Tuscaloosa and to Austin, and they still won the league. Okay, so I'm not going to pick against them at this point. I don't know if I can truly, fully come to trust the quarterback situation. I think they do, but we'll see as you move forward. But I just trust Kirby Smart and that program to be great on defense, powerful on offense, and I think that they'll be good enough. I think they'll be the best team in the league. I think they're a playoff team.
The Texas Longhorns.
I think Texas is right behind him in terms of roster, and I think they may be right behind him in terms of coach, because I think Sarkisian on offense is that good. They're certainly recruiting at elite level. I do think Arch is going to be good, but I like Texas more so because of their defense than I do because Arch Manning is some sort of transcendent quarterback. I think he'll be fine. I think he's got good enough playmakers on the outside. Certainly got to replace Kelvin Banks at offensive tackle, but I like the defense at Texas, and that's why I've got them at number 2.
The LSU Tigers.
We'll see. I like the LSU's team. And we're going to talk about this the next couple of days. I love LSU's defense, and I'm ready to say that. I'm ready to watch them play on Saturday. And I think that when you've got a quarterback that's got this much proven film out there, and you've got playmakers like they've got, and I trust the defense the way I do, I think LSU is going to be really good. So I'll take LSU third, and we'll see how that shakes out over the course of the next 3 months.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
I don't know about Ty Simpson. Now we've just gotten word that Tim Keenan's going to miss some time with a tightrope surgery for a sprained ankle. That's not good for the defensive line at Alabama. But Ryan Williams is a star. Their offensive line is massive. And I still think they've got elite talent there. Kalen DeBoer better win some games early. Don't want to get on the hot seat there right out of the chute. But I think Alabama's good, and I think they'll win comfortably in Tallahassee. Well, I shouldn't say comfortably. They'll win in Tallahassee on Saturday, and I think their team is good. I've got them for it.
Texas A&M!
This is on an identity play here with Texas A&M. 4 offensive linemen back, running quarterback back, who's probably a little bit better throwing the ball than we want to give him credit for. And I think Elko's defense is going to be really good. They got the whole secondary back. I think he's good at developing defensive linemen. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're good. And I think they're 5th in the league right now.
The Florida Gators.
I think this is Billy Napier's best team at Florida. When you've got a guy that they really trust like that at quarterback, it's a good thing. He's got Eugene Wilson on the outside to get the ball to. They've made strides on defense at the end of last year with a first-year coordinator. I feel like they'll be better on defense. It's Napier's best roster, and the quarterback should be really good. That's enough to put them towards the top of the middle of the pack for me. I've got Florida at 6.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma was 10th in the country in total defense last year. Now they're bringing in a quarterback that they think can be pretty damn good. Now, whether or not John Mateer with Ben Arbuckle transforms this Oklahoma offense, we'll see. They don't have Nick Anderson. They don't have Bauer Sharp. They've got a wide receiver now. It was one of their better players that got hurt last year that's now at Mississippi State. Like, they've got guys spread out all over the place that were at Oklahoma last year, but they went and got a great running back from Cal and Alt. I think they're going to be pretty decent on offense. I think they'll be good on defense, and that equates to 7. It's just the top of the middle of the pack there.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
I just don't trust Ole Miss to restock the shelves from last year. That was an elite roster. I don't think they can just immediately replace Walter Nolan. I think you don't immediately replace Jackson Dart. You don't immediately replace Trey Harris. You don't immediately replace Pooh Paul or Trey Amos. And I look at, Sage Ryan playing safety, Deshaun Womack playing defensive end. Like, looks good on the recruiting rankings. Is it good on the field? I think they'll score points. I don't know if they'll be great on defense. And I think they're going to lose more games this year than they did last year. I think they'll be potentially a 4-loss team. So I got Ole Miss right there at number 8.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Not just completely overwhelmed with South Carolina. Lenore Sellers needs to throw the ball more effectively. He's still a freak athlete that's really strong. It's going to be hard to sack. But can he just run his way to wins like he did against Clemson last year when I think their defense takes a step back? You lose Kyle Kennard, you take a step back. But he's not the only guy they lost. They lost 3 guys on the front 4 and a couple linebackers. So, plus one of the better safeties in the country in Newman Worry. So, I don't trust South Carolina to just immediately restock the shelves. I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't think they're going 9-3 again. So give me South Carolina at 9.
The Missouri Tigers.
Kind of going off drink, just being pretty good every year here. They don't have Luther Burden. They have an easy schedule. I think they're going to be fine. And I think when you're fine, 10 makes some sense. So I've got Missouri there at number 10. Is that enough respect, Beck? 10?
Yeah, that's not bad.
All right, 10, good.
The Auburn Tigers.
We'll see. Is Jackson Arnold any good? There was very little evidence of that last year. They got great wide receivers. Cam Coleman's a stud. And I think their defense is going to be better. Offensive line looks like it's going to be pretty solid as well. Is Jackson Arnold any good? I don't know. I don't feel great about this Auburn team. I'm curious to watch them on Friday against Baylor on the road. Are you ready to do that? Go on the road for your first game? Hugh Freeze is a good coach. He's a good play caller. They generally have a good offensive scheme, but he needs to be able to run the ball, and he needs his quarterback to function. Peyton Thorne, Is Jackson Arnold any good? I've asked 3 times. I don't know. Got Auburn at number 11.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
I'm down on Tennessee. I'm down on Aguilar at quarterback. I think he's mediocre. I'm down on the fact that you lost a big chunk of your offensive line, 4 of them. I'm down on the fact that you lost the SEC Offensive Player of the Year at running back. I'm down on the fact that you lost your 2 wide receivers. I'm down on the fact that you lost a lot off of a really good defense. It's still got some pieces, and they'll be good up front on defense, and their defense is going to have to win them some games. I'm not bullish on the offense right now, even though Josh Heupel's a really good coach. I think Tennessee takes a step back. I've got him at number 12.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Here are the doors. 13. That's great.
Atrocity, Hunt.
How is that an atrocity? They're usually
just
16.
is.
That's up 3 spots.
Wow.
Excellent spot for Vandy here. They've got one surefire high-end pro. He plays tight end. I think that you've got a nice story at quarterback, and that's what I think he is, a nice player. I think Diego Pavia is a nice player. Keep in mind, last year they beat Ball State by 7 and lost to Georgia State. It wasn't a great team last year. Not a great team this year. It's an average team. 13.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Here's where I get to the bottom of the league. This is going to be Talon Green versus the world in Fayetteville. I think their defense is going to be awful. I think their offensive line is going to be mediocre. And I think the weapons they've got around Talon Green are worse than they had last year. It's just, what can Bobby Petrino squeeze out of this Talon Green fruit? And I think it's mediocre. I think they're going to give up a ton of points. I think they're going to be behind. I think that means Talon Green has to throw more than they want to, and I think they lose a lot of games. I don't think Arkansas is going to be very good. I've got them at 14.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
It's going to get dicey in Lexington. That's what I think. I think it's already a little dicey. On one hand, they turn the page to basketball pretty quickly in November. So when you're 3-8, like they're not that cranky because they're now looking at all their McDonald's All-Americans. But that goodwill that Mark Stoops built up is evaporating because they're not any good. He took the A&M job and then came back. It's just not. It's just not going to work. I don't see another good season coming in the Mark Stoops era at Kentucky. I've got them at 15.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Could be another winless run for Coach Levy here. They'll go to Fayetteville, and we'll see. But I've got Mississippi State as the worst team in the league. That is a look at your SEC Power Rankings. Beck, you've got a cornucopia of things to look at.
Yeah,
here.
It's a lot.
I'll run through it, and then you can give me why I'm stupid. Got Georgia at 1, best coach, best roster. Texas 2, right there behind them. I like LSU. I've got LSU at number 3. Bama at 4, a lot of pros there. I'm high on A&M. They're number 5. I think this is Billy Napier's best roster. Got them at number 6. Oklahoma, I think they get better. They're number 7 here. Ole Miss, I think they take a step back. South Carolina, they take a step back. Missouri, just very mediocre. They're there at 10. At 11, it's Auburn. I don't know about their quarterback. I think Tennessee takes a step back at 12. Vanderbilt, I just don't think is very good at 13. Then you got the 3 bottom feeders, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. I think they combine for 2 wins this year.
Yeah, I am not I would say that I'm not opposed to your bottom teams there. I think they're all bad.
Vanderbilt's at the bottom.
I would no. See that I'm the bottom 3. After the bottom 3, Vanderbilt of course needs to be higher. Justice for Vanderbilt. Tennessee is shocking to me just because I just trust Josh Heupel, and I just trust that he is going to find a way to get a lot out of quarterbacks who aren't maybe the most talented. He's done it before. And so I'm a little bit surprised they're that low. And then I would say having South Carolina 9 underneath teams like Florida, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. I just think that Lenore Sellers is a dynamic quarterback, and I think he's going to be better than he was last year. And dynamic quarterbacks can carry you to wins in college football. And I still am confused about the Oklahoma. I didn't know their defense was that good last year, so that is a point that makes sense as to why a lot of people think they're going to be a little bit better this year. But I still just need to see the offense be better. I mean, John Mateer was good at Washington State. They played nobody. They played not one single good team, so he's going to be playing in the
Boise
SEC
State.
now. Yeah, the Broncos. Very
Ashton
good team.
Genty.
Very
He
good
went
team.
there.
Yeah. John Mateer, yeah, let's see how he faces off against SEC defenses. And then the top 5 or 6, I don't really have a lot of complaints there. A&M that high is also another interesting one.
Whoop!
Yeah. Hunt a known Aggie yell leader, of course.
Whoop!
So no surprise that he's got them ranked that highly. But
Love the Aggies. Big Aggie guy.
Yeah, of course.
Love C-Stat there in College Station.
Yeah.
Love to be there. The Dixie Chicken.
Yes.
Dunk my ring in the beer,
You
drink
got
it.
all of it.
And love yell leaders. They're awesome.
You
Very cool.
are a yell leader, Hunt, of course, as everyone knows. Yeah, South Carolina that low is probably the most interesting one to me, and in Oklahoma and Florida being that high, which I guess is not really that high. They're kind of in the middle of the league, so it's possible. But it's overall not bad. Of course, Vanderbilt needs to be a little bit higher. That's my takeaway there.
All right, let's close it out.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. Golfers, listen up. This is where you need to be. It's on Segan, right there at Perkins. You go inside. They've got 3 bays with the golf simulators. Whether you're looking to work on your game, you can do it there. They got a driving range setting. You can get all your information, club head speed, launch angle, carry, spin. You can watch it on the simulator. Plus, what I found to be the most helpful, you can see a slow-mo of your club at impact. I hit a big hook. Whenever I do that, I was noticing I was hitting the ball inside on the heel of the club. That's what you're looking to do, work on your game, you can do it there. If you're not looking to do that at all, you just want to have some fun, you can do that at Swing Easy Golf Club. Get a cold beer, get some wine, have some friends in the bay with you. You got comfortable seating that's there, a television. You can work on your game there. You can play some of the great courses around the world. TPC Louisiana, you can play Riviera Country Club, you can play Bethpage Black where they play the Ryder Cup. Like, they've got the great courses throughout that simulator, and there are membership options available, both individual and corporate memberships, where you can entertain clients at Swing Easy Golf Clubs. It's an awesome, awesome new addition to the golf scene here in Baton Rouge. Get on by and see them. I know it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, not inside, when you're on the swing simulator at Swing Easy Golf Club. Again, on Segan, near Perkins Road. Swing Easy Golf Club, Swing Easy Golf Club, Baton Rouge.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Your Fighting Tigers of LSU open the 2025 season Saturday on the road when they face the Clemson Tigers. It all gets started with Eagle 98.1 Game Day with Charles Hannegriff and Matt Musso at 1:30 p.m. live from Rouse's on Burbank, and wraps up with Eagle 98.1 Game Day post-game 90 minutes after the end of the game. It's presented by Super Chevy, your local Super Chevy dealers, and Yingling, featuring Yingling Flight. Hear it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch it live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
Slip a little bit of baseball in here at the final segment. Jay Johnson met with the media at 1 o'clock right when we started the show today. And I'm reading off Glenn West's Twitter feed. I have not seen this quote, but I'm reading a quote off Glenn's tweet about Gavin Guidry. He said he's playing catch, continually building him up. They're hoping he can throw in the fall, and the quote is, if he pitches, it will be at the back end of the fall. That is got to be really frustrating for Gavin. Obviously, was ready to go to start the season, felt something in his lower back after the first week, was set to start one of those midweek games, and it just never healed. So you have that procedure done to fix it, and it's just a slow wait back. So hopefully Gavin's ready to go in February. But if you're looking at late in the fall, which for LSU means the first week in November is when they finish fall practice, if he's not ready to pitch the first week in November, like, what are the odds he's really ready to go the second week of February, which is when you start? You're only talking about a span of about 10 weeks there, which, you know, can be a significant amount of time. But if you haven't thrown, there's still a ramp-up process. So it seems like Gavin Guidry not super close to coming back and pitching. Hopefully that recovery is steady, that recovery is successful, and he is able to pitch at the back end of fall. If he is able to throw some at the end of the fall, you feel like the 10 weeks off, he'll be ready to go in February, but they're not going to rush anything with that injury. You'd love to have him at the back end of your bullpen as a guy that you've trusted to get big outs over the course of his time at LSU. They missed him last year, found a way to get by without him. Like to have him on this roster as you look to replace some key bullpen pieces. Certainly Chase Shores comes to mind when you're talking about the bullpen last year. So a little baseball there. Let's finish it out with some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer, brewed by the oldest brewery in America, still family owned and operated. That is Yingling in Pottsville, PA. If you're looking for a light beer while the temperature is still hot, nothing better than Flight by Yingling. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. If you're trying to knock down more than one on Saturday for LSU and Clemson, want something light, Flight by Yingling needs to be what you pick up on the way home. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, first one. We talked about it a little bit in What If Wednesday, but Keegan Bradley and the U.S. Ryder Cup team is finalized. He made his captain's picks, and we've got the 12-man team. The U.S. will win the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black next month. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Love to see it. Can't wait. It's the Ole Miss weekend. I like the ones in America because it's better for timing, but I do also kind of like waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the first tee shot in Europe. But we are going to win. I like our team. They got to play a little bit better. JT's got to play a little bit better. Morcal's got to play a little better. Cantley's got to play a little better, but they're very good players.
Yep.
Clutch players. I hate the European team, and I hope we crush them.
I agree. I think they're going to win. The home team has won every single Ryder Cup except for, of course, the Miracle of Medina going back to 2011. So
yes.
Home team usually wins these. U.S. have a lot of guys that can hit it pretty far. Bethpage Black is a bomber's course. The European team is going to be good. They've got some good young talent, and they played really well at the last one, but this is going to be on home soil, so I like the U.S. as well in that one. Next one here, the Baltimore Ravens have signed Kyle Hamilton, safety Kyle Hamilton, to a 4-year, $100 million extension. Largest deal for a safety in NFL history. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's very good.
Take it.
Brian Kelly coached him at Notre Dame. He's a very good safety, and that was just a classic Ravens draft pick. They're lurking around there at the 18th or 21st pick or 24th pick, and then boom, they get a guy, and everybody goes, oh, yeah, that guy's going to be really good. And Kyle Hamilton was that guy. They got him late in the first round, and now all of a sudden he's as good a safety as there is in the NFL. So, well deserved.
Got to be one of the best drafting teams, I think, the Ravens.
They're very good.
Very good at drafting. All right, that's it. Take it or leave it.
And by the way, that team that's very good at drafting took 2 LSU offensive linemen last year.
That's true.
So for those that think the LSU offensive line stunk last year, just file that away. They generally know what they're looking at, and I think it was Emory Jones and Garrett Dellinger were both picked by the Ravens last year because Frazier went to the Lions, Campbell went to the Patriots. So yeah, that's right. That's it for a Wednesday edition. We've officially reached the back end of the week. Tomorrow we'll talk to Chris Blair. Get you ready for the coaches show tomorrow, and then of course their broadcast on Saturday. We'll talk more about LSU and Clemson. I've got key matchups to watch. We'll get into that on tomorrow's show. So lots to do on that show. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Talked about the Saints practice squad. Let's also talk some Clemson with a radio man from over there in South Carolina. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. We're back tomorrow getting closer to game day on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all